It's time to make some cheesesteaks. Hope you guys are ready for this. To get us going, I'm going to start off with some butter, some onions. We've got ourselves some long loaf of bread. Of course, you got to have the shaved steak, ribeye, cheese whiz, some mushrooms, Blackstone cheesesteak seasoning, and add a little twist, we're going to use a little bit of cream cheese. First, we're going to start by grabbing our mandolin. Going to set it to a thin slice and go ahead and slice our onions. We want quite a bit of these. The onions are great when it comes to making the sandwich. You can see we're going to do them fairly shaved thin. Took some of the bread, cut it in half to make about a 12-inch sandwich, sliced them open, and we're going to go ahead and coat the inside of one of the sides of this with cream cheese. This is a way to make an Indy Philly. Going to add a little oil to our heated up griddle. Got this set to about 350. Go ahead and get our onions going. Now we've got the onions on, we can go ahead and get some mushrooms going as well. Now these mushrooms are a little bit thicker when I bought them, so we're going to go ahead and get these cut up a little bit as well to make these a little better and more bite size. And to start the saute process with these, we're going to add a little bit of butter as well, give it a little bit more flavor. You can see we're starting to look for the brownish color that comes with the onions here. When we saute them, we're trying to get them so that they're not super soft. You still want them a little bit crispy, but you still want them to turn a little bit brown as well. That's when you know they're starting to get cooked. You can tell the difference of the mushrooms the same way, and they start to get that nice brown color. We'll get these mushrooms chopped up here. Pretty easy to do, we can just do it right here on the griddle. Now that we've got those pretty much cooked here, we're going to go ahead and move these to the side of the griddle so they don't continue to cook at a high pace. Just keep them on a low simmer when we move them to the edge. Cooking the cheesesteak is pretty simple. The meat actually cooks extremely quickly because it is so thin. But one thing you want to make sure that you want to do is you want to be able to make this into edible pieces so that when you take your bite of sandwich, you're not getting a whole string of meat. So we like to shave it down even a little bit further. So after we have the first side just about cooked, we can go ahead and flip this over to the second side. And once we get this flipped over to the second side, we're going to go ahead and shave this down even a little bit further. Now the main part of making a Philly cheesesteak, or just a cheesesteak in general, is we want to make sure that we don't overcook the meat. You want to keep the meat nice and moist. So we're going to keep moving this a little bit. You don't really want to see a lot of red obviously in there because you are trying to get the Philly steak cooked. But in the same hand, you're trying to make sure that you're keeping it moist by not letting it get overcooked as well. So we like to add the cheese just a little bit earlier, knowing that there's still going to be continuous heat as you continue to cook the sandwich to cook it the rest of the way. And so we use quite a bit of cheese whiz, which is the traditional way of making the Philly. And to help that cheese warm up, we just put our vegetables right on top to start to melt that cheese down and get that incorporated in there. And then once we get that all in there, we'll start to mix the entire sandwich together.
Good so far?
This is a perfect place to add your cheesesteak seasoning as well. Gives it that extra boost, that extra flavor. Really ties everything in nicely. And it's time to mix everything together. Want to keep turning it. So fold it over and incorporate all those ingredients together. Look for any places where you still may need to shred that up a little bit. Again, when you're taking that bite out of that sandwich, you don't want to pull all the meat out with it. So you want to really chop things down, get things organized so that when it goes into the sandwich, just get that perfect bite. We're going to make two sandwiches of what we've got today. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to split this in half. And we're going to get this set up lengthwise to be able to ready to go into a bun. And this is the easy part. We're just going to take that bun, which we already have the cream cheese on it if you remember, and just put that bun right on top of it. It's going to help steam the bun a little bit, help start to melt a little bit of that cream cheese, but also make it easier to lift this off the griddle. And to get it off, it's as simple as slide your whole spatula underneath and flip it right over. You'll get a little bit that may fall out. Just go ahead and grab that and throw it right back in. You're good to go. Same thing here with the second one as well. Get the rest of the stragglers here and get that into the sandwich. And that one's good to go as well. I'll tell you what, we really like to add cream cheese to ours. I think it makes a little bit of flair. Doesn't make it the traditional Philly cheesesteak, but hey, let's free that cheesesteak, right? Make it the way that you like. So for this one, we like to add a little bit of cream cheese. We call it the Indy Philly.